Go back out to the canvas. And then right between the webhook and the AI agent, I would put a code node in here, right there, JavaScript. So here is where I would take the JSON from the transcript array from the webhook call. So if you click on JSON instead of table, go to the right, yeah, right there, and then scroll down until you get to the transcript array. Click on transcript, and it'll highlight that entire array. And then now go to that little copy icon, and then say copy selection. Now you have the JSON for just the transcript. And here's where I would go to Chat or Claude and say, this is my incoming JSON, and I need a code node to parse just the messages so that I can analyze the message data from the transcript array. The reason you're giving it that JSON is so that the AI, ChatGPT in your case, understands the exact JSON that it needs to parse. Say this is the incoming JSON for an n8n webhook call. The next line, I need to parse just the messages, and what else? What do you need to parse? So the call performance evaluator right there, the AI agent, needs the messages data. You don't need to give it the time, the duration, etc. First, address the ChatGPT item. I need to parse just the messages so that the next node, which is an AI agent to evaluate the call performance, can just process the messages portion of the JSON. Next, paste in give it some new line. Yeah. So now let's process this. Yeah. So now this is going to give you the JavaScript for that code node. So let's copy that JavaScript. Let's execute that step and see if it actually processes it properly. You've pinned this data, right? Yeah. Okay. That did not work. Okay. Our instruction to ChatGPT must not have been very good. Okay. Let me see. No, we want to parse it, but okay, the goal here is to give it, maybe in the next messages, the code node did not output any results.
A few moments later.
So this gave a better code node. Let's try that. Didn't ChatGPT not understand the JSON? Maybe you need to be more explicit in which message it's trying to pull from. So if you go back to your n8n and then look at your webhook data. So I would copy the message right there where it says, hi, this is Jason. So copy that all the way up to the transcript info. Try running that again. And if we can't get it, this is where you're going to have to experiment a bit, Jason.
Yeah, sure. I totally understand. It's just that this feels very familiar. At this point, I might even just ask the n8n AI if it can do it.
It probably could, especially for a single request like that. Yeah, something is not working.
All right, I'm gonna exit out of this.
Yeah, let's stop that. Then so you
I'm
can
gonna refresh for a moment.
No,
just I found that works. Oh no, not nice. I didn't save it.
Yeah, you gotta save it, otherwise you lose it.
Yeah, so I save it.
Let's skip this code part because you'll figure that out after our call. Can you guys see my screen? You have your AI agent here, right? Now, with your OpenAI model, what you can do here is you can now add web search and file search. Which is the response API from OpenAI. So this means that now you have a built-in web search right out of the gate. So you get some filters for the web search. We'll turn that off because in your case, this is about the file search, right? Where if you upload a file using the OpenAI embedding tool or directly from the developer interface for OpenAI, right? Now you can reference those files directly here.
I've not done that. So there's a place you're saying when I'm logged into just OpenAI where I'm paying for my API access. That
yeah, the developer interface where the playground stuff is.
Yeah.
There should be a place where you can upload files. And here in this, you can now reference that vector store ID. So basically you're now you don't need an external vector database if you don't want to.
Cool.
Make life easier, right?
Yeah.
So now if you upload those files into OpenAI, you just need that ID. And for whatever you're building here in this call evaluator, just reference those few files via the ID. And now it's all available to you.
So in between those two hard brackets, I would just put in the number or letter, whatever the long ID is.
Yeah. You'll figure out the formatting for that ID JSON here, right?
Yeah.
Now we have an array of vector IDs for those assets that you've uploaded. But I'm just wanting to show you that now you don't have to go to an external vector database if you don't want to. especially when you only have a few files,
Yeah.
right? Where it's like, oh God, now
It's like 3 or 4 files.
yeah, so now you don't Pinecone, V8, whatever vector data. Like now you don't have to set all that up now, especially if you're just using OpenAI. Upload a few files and they're available to you now via the response API. I'm sure there's a way we can even automate, like continuously monitor a Google Drive, right, folder, and any new file in that folder, just upload it to the OpenAI file uploader or whatever it is called.
Can you show me how you got to that again? It was in the OpenAI chat model, right?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so you now have built-in tools in the OpenAI chat model.
How do mine doesn't have that. Mine, like, what do I click on? Do I need to
So
update?
now you need to update your n8n here using the admin panel.
All right, let me go to add.
Just update it to the latest beta or its latest stable, just to make sure that you have all these features available to you.
Well, I've never had to update it before. So I clicked on that screen. What do I click on next? If you go to admin panel, what do you do next?
Go to manage.
Manage. Yeah.
And update to the right. Update your instance in the right.
Restart workspace, delete account. I don't see that. Let me show you my screen.
Yeah, here, I'm going to the dashboard. So you hit manage here.
Yep.
And you change your version right here, n8n version.
So latest beta.
Or stable, it's up to you.
Okay.
I always go to the beta because this is my cloud instance is my beta testing playground. So
well, after I click latest, then I just save changes and I'm good. Update and restart.
Yeah, it'll upgrade your entire instance to the latest version, and then you'll have all these nifty little new tools.
That's so cool. Thank you.
Yep. All right. Play around with ChatGPT and that code node to get the right, so that it'll help you parse out that data. And then in the sheet uploader, you just, for all of that other extra data, you just need to reference back to the data from the webhook and include that as you update the Google Sheet.
Well, I'll sure try.
Yeah, and then the date formatting, what you want to say to ChatGPT is, hey, this is my current format, but I need it to be formatted, year, month, day with time, hour, minute, PM, or AM. So you just give it the format you want, and it'll help you figure that out.
Thank you. I have one last question. Then I'll stop. Someone else can ask questions. But my last question is, what's your workflow for permitting mistakes and knowing when to save? Like sometimes I'm engaging with the AI feature in n8n and it doesn't do the thing the way I wanted it to. And then I feel like sometimes I'm taking 2 steps or 3 steps backwards. I'd like just to understand what a workflow is like for somebody who experiences that sort of thing, to make sure that they can undo or move forward.
Yeah, there's always this here, Jason, where there is a workflow history.
Oh, nice. I didn't know.
Yeah, you can always go back to this, restore or clone to a new workflow.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and then in V2, once they do that, I think sometime in January, the autosave feature will also be available. So how you were going to refresh that window without saving?
Yeah.
That should now be it shouldn't become a detrimental action where you didn't save all the work you were working on and we happen to refresh your browser window.
Thank you. Yeah, I feel like I keep saving duplicate versions of the workflows every little step of progress I make, and then I end up with saved files. I'm like, there's got to be a better way than this.
So the way I handle that is using a 3-digit version numbering system. So all my workflows have a 3-digit workflow or versioning number. And the reason I use 3 numbers is, the first number is a major update, the second number is a kind of minor update, and the third number is a hot fix. If those terms mean anything to you in terms of how you manage feature upgrades to a certain file or a workflow, I always use a 3-digit versioning mechanism.
Thank you very much for sharing.
Yeah, so I always have a version number, especially when I'm working on bigger workflows, and also that helps when you're working in teams as well, right? So someone takes over version 1.01, and then they should be updating that to 1.02 or 1.1.0, however much upgrade that they're making to that workflow. And that helps because, when you have a workflow open in n8n and someone else tries to access that, they are locked out of it until you get out of that workflow. There's no collaboration capability in n8n. So versioning is one mechanism, as well as, hopefully branching in GitHub of some sort and saving, things like that.
Thank you.
All right. Good luck, Jason.
Thanks.
You've made good progress. It's just those little tweaks that needed to be made.
I agree.
All right, cool. Well, good luck. We'll see you next time. So, Alex, first off, can I ask where you're located?
Yes, I am located in Asheville, North Carolina.
Oh, cool. The other side. I'm here in Los Angeles. So, and I think, Jason, you're in Minnesota.
I'm in Minneapolis.
Oh, Minneapolis. I was close.
All right.
Okay, see you, Jason. All right, Alex, you have some questions about n8n. And by the way, I started similarly where, especially with n8n, because it's so JSON or JavaScript heavy with all the expressions and things. And that's where like the use of ChatGPT or Claude really has helped me understand these expressions and how it should be constructed. It's just time, right? And experience. And, I have 3+ years on it now. So don't feel like, especially with the ChatGPT and Claude available to us, like you should be able to bypass any issue as long as you understand how to solve that problem. Like you saw me with JSON where, hey, we need the JSON so that the AI can actually give you the right code or the expression within n8n. Join us here on these calls because you have direct access to me for an hour. The whole purpose is to be here for you guys and help you get through some of these hurdles as you're building and learning the nuances of various nodes and how to sort of structure your workflows, right? Because that's one of the things that took me a long time to learn is how to structure every workflow so that it's pretty much optimized and able to handle certain data. And one of the things you'll find that, especially as you get into larger workflows, memory management becomes an issue because the more data you load into an individual workflow, you have to be efficiently offloading memory even inside of that workflow so that it's not holding a ton of data while trying to process because it will time out. That's stuff you'll learn over time, trust me.
Sure. Have you used or do you use OpenRouter?
I personally don't use that third-party service. I usually go directly to Anthropic, Perplexity, or OpenAI. Yeah, some people want to go through OpenRouter, but my preference is just to use the direct services, right? So for example, that OpenAI example I was showing Jason here with the built-in tools, you won't have that if you went through OpenRouter. There's certain features that you just won't get if you were to go through a third party like Open. Nothing wrong with that, but
So they'll be missing options.
yeah. So for example, if I were to open up the Gemini node here, like all of this action available to you, I just don't think that'll come in from OpenRouter, right?
Oh, interesting.
I don't know if you
That would be an interesting way to be able to switch models and test flows with different models easily.
Yeah, so one of the ways you can do that now with the AI agent is there is a way to, where is it? One, you can enable a fallback model here.
Got it.
Where is, oh, here it is. So you can now also add multiple models here. So let's say you are working on something where you need to test multiple models. You can actually add as many models as you want here. So in addition to the fallback model, let's say you are using OpenRouter and you want to test all the new trendy buzzword models that are coming out. You just add a bunch of these here and the AI agent will now go and use a bunch of these, right? So there's a lot of cool things built into AI agent and they keep just continuing to improve it, right? So it's really cool. OpenAI, Anthropic, Google, and Microsoft, because they're such large companies, right? And they're going to be under scrutiny. If their terms and services do not protect company data or sensitive data, then they're going to be in trouble. So my last check, especially of OpenAI and Anthropic's terms of services, especially for the API use, is that if you are sending data via the API, that is not used to train their models. Now, this is specific to the API. What does that mean? So that means in this example here, as we're using the OpenAI chat model, whatever data is being sent to this chat model here via the API, that data is not being used to train the LLM. I think people probably building these workflows aren't thinking through that, maybe more in the perspective of, well, I don't want to wait 5 minutes for my workflow to process. How do I get this thing to run in 2 minutes? It's more a time thing versus a sustainability thing from their perspective. So the other thing you can think about is in the settings for every workflow, there is a time saved input here. So if you know that by executing this workflow, you've saved someone 10 minutes, that data is now captured in your dashboard in the n8n instance. And you can see, hey, because this workflow ran 100 times, you've now just saved this business 500 minutes. That's not a sustainability thing. It's more of like, what's your ROI by using n8n, but maybe it's a data set that you can somehow.
Yeah, I didn't know you could do that. That's cool.
Yeah, so maybe somehow you can leverage that in your sustainability perspective and conversation and build that into how you approach your nonprofits and existing clients to say, hey, right now, if I build this workflow for you, I know I can save you 30 minutes of your life. And by doing so, that turns into real dollars for your business. And now we're going to monitor that savings over a year, and you're going to see real value in using n8n. But my next goal for you is to say, shrink this down to 30, 45 minutes somehow because we've done X, Y, and Z. So it becomes a multifunctional tool just by adding in this little piece of data. That makes sense?
Yes.
So from your angle, the sustainability angle, again, I think there's some things you could do in positioning it so that it adds the value that you bring.
Yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever use this is my last question, I promise.
No problem.
There are flows, n8n flows that are basically text to flow models. You just tell them what you want and they build the n8n model for you. Do you ever use those?
Yep, I have. So if I go back out, show you a workflow that I built using the AI builder. That's what you're talking about. So when you go to create a workflow, you now have this build with AI function, right? So if I go in here, there's a bunch of example ones where if I click on one of these, it'll start building the workflow for me. But what I want to show you is an actual workflow that I built, and it is this one. What this was for an example application that we were building where it's a goal, personal goal tracker. And so it's a Next.js app where you can add in goals and track goals, progress, etc. And what this AI agent is doing is when someone clicks on generate goals from the website or the app, it will trigger this workflow, create a bunch of goals for them, and then post that back into the database so that it will surface on the app. Okay. So this entire workflow here that you're seeing was built using the AI builder.
And that's a new feature, right?
That's fairly new, yeah, maybe an app.
Yeah, because I know some people have actually built, and they're in the templates, built n8n flows that generate a flow for you. But
I built a few versions.
Did I see you on YouTube with that?
Yeah. So
maybe that's how I found you. Was that
okay? I've attempted several versions of that before n8n introduced theirs, and yeah, there's some glitches in that whole process, but I'm fairly happy with this AI builder. And again, the reason I was able to get such a nice single shot, this was single shot, no additional prompting, was because I had my data model already in place because of the app, right? I had to build my database and the schema and the data model, as well as the product requirements document, the PRD, of what the n8n workflow should do and what it should output. So the data model of the input and the output plus the function of the workflow was my prompt to this AI builder. So I basically built an incredible context window for this AI builder so that I knew exactly what it needed to build, and it built it for me in single shot. I was quite impressed with what it did.
Does it do well with simple text instructions?
You're going to have to do several sort of iterations and actual chat interactions with the chat builder or the AI builder. So the more context you can provide it, the better.
Always.
Always, exactly. So before you add it to the AI builder, I would actually go and spend some time with Claude or ChatGPT and say, hey, this is what I want to build. Help me put together the data model and the prompt so that the AI builder in n8n can build it for me. You'll be quite impressed with that extra step, all right, to take before you give it to the AI builder, because the AI builder in n8n has a very small context window compared to some of the tools that we're more familiar with.
Gotcha.
So it will choke.
Awesome. Okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, Alex, good luck.
Thank you. I'm
think you
excited
had
to
some-
dig in.
Yeah, you probably had some specific n8n questions, and maybe we can address that next week once you play around with things a bit.
Yes, I will
Yeah.
have more questions. I
Yeah,
promise.
hopefully we'll see you next week. So,
Thank you so much.
all right, Alex, good luck. We'll see you next week. Thanks.
Yeah.